The fog you were in wasn't emotional, it was spiritual. And when you stopped feeding it with attention, it began to lift. You were generous longer than you should have been. You gave grace where boundaries were required. You tried to heal someone who was secretly studying how to control you. That doesn't make you foolish, it makes you human. But it also makes this moment critical. Because this wasn't meant to destroy you. It was meant to sharpen you. The test wasn't about them. It was about whether you'd trust your discernment when it finally spoke clearly. Here's the part no one tells you. When God removes someone quietly, it's because noise would cost you peace. You don't need explanations. You don't need closure from them. You don't need validation. Truth doesn't argue. It exits. And when it does, something extraordinary happens. Your mind clears. Your intuition strengthens. Your tolerance for deception disappears. You don't become colder. You become cleaner. The Bible calls this guarding the heart. Psychology calls it self-respect. Philosophy calls it sovereignty. Different languages, same truth. You may feel unsettled right now, not because you're losing something, but because you're adjusting to freedom. Freedom always feels unfamiliar at first. But watch what happens next. New clarity will arrive. New connections, clean ones, will replace the counterfeit. Your creativity, focus, and peace will increase without effort. Not because you fought harder, but because you finally listened. What they meant to delay you only accelerated you. What they tried to access has been sealed, and one day soon, you'll look back and realize something chilling and beautiful at the same time. They almost had influence over a version of you that no longer exists. So walk forward without explaining yourself. Easash, protect what's sacred. Trust what you felt before you understood it. Because the most dangerous traps don't close with pain. They close with relief. And the fact that you feel lighter right now, that's your confirmation. This wasn't coincidence. This wasn't imagination. This was intervention. And it arrived just in time. You didn't click this by accident. Something in you felt exposed the moment you arrived here. Like a quiet alarm going off in a room you've been pretending is silent. There has been a pressure on your chest you couldn't explain. A sense that something was off. Not loud, not dramatic, just wrong enough to linger. You told yourself it was stress, fatigue, overthinking. But deep down, you knew better. This is how truth usually arrives. Not with thunder, but with discomfort. And if you're honest, there's already a face forming in your mind. Someone close, someone familiar. Someone who speaks softly, smiles easily, and leaves you strangely drained when they walk away. This message isn't here to accuse you. It's here to protect you. Because not every open door is an invitation from God. Some are tests disguised as comfort. There's an ancient warning written into Scripture. Test the spirits. Not because the world is full of monsters, but because deception rarely looks dangerous. Moses didn't lose people to obvious enemies. He lost them to doubt, familiarity, and voices that sounded reasonable. Billy Graham once said that the greatest danger to faith isn't persecution. It's subtle distortion. The slow bending of truth until it feels harmless. And that's what you've been dealing with. This person didn't arrive with hostility. They arrived with agreement. They mirrored your values, echoed your pain, validated your fears. Psychology calls this emotional mirroring. Machiavelli described it centuries earlier. Men judge more by the eye than by the hand. What feels familiar lowers defenses faster than force ever could. They weren't drawn to your weakness. They were drawn to your potential. Your peace irritated them. Your clarity threatened them. Your calling exposed something unresolved in them, so they studied you. Not to understand you, but to anticipate you. Here's the uncomfortable truth most people never accept. Not everyone who walks with you is walking for you. Napoleon Hill warned that proximity without alignment creates silent sabotage. A person doesn't have to hate you to harm you. They just have to want what you carry without paying the price, to become who you are. And that's why the uneasiness grew. You felt it after conversations, after messages that seemed harmless, after moments that should have felt safe, but didn't. Your body reacted before your mind caught up. That wasn't paranoia. That was discernment. Long before danger becomes visible, it becomes felt. Spiritual danger almost never announces itself. It whispers, it flatters, it waits. Here's where the story shifts. Because what you thought was confusion was actually intervention. God doesn't always remove the threat immediately. Sometimes he removes the illusion first. Think of Joseph, betrayed not by enemies but by brothers, people close enough to touch his destiny and jealous enough to sell him out. Think of Jesus, not arrested by strangers, but by a kiss from someone trusted. This pattern isn't random. What's anointed attracts both favor and surveillance. And when you finally began to wake up, when your silence changed, when your energy pulled back, something happened. Their access weakened. That's why their behavior shifted, why the tone changed, why the mask started slipping. When control fails, manipulation escalates. But here's the protection most people miss. You don't need confrontation to win this. You need clarity. Silence isn't surrender. Distance isn't cruelty. Boundaries aren't rejection. They're wisdom. There's a reason peace started returning the moment you considered walking away. Lightness isn't coincidence. Clarity isn't random. And now, after the relief, comes the reckoning. Because freedom doesn't just remove chains, it exposes how long you were wearing them. You'll begin to replay moments you once excused, conversations you brushed off, feelings you overruled to keep the peace. And a quiet grief may surface. Not grief for them, but for the version of you that tolerated less than it deserved. This stage is important. Don't rush past it. The Bible calls this renewing the mind. Psychology calls it integration. It's when the soul catches up to the decision. You're not regressing, you're recalibrating. Here's what most people misunderstand about spiritual growth. It doesn't always feel like confidence. Sometimes it feels like loneliness. Because when discernment sharpens, crowds thin. You'll notice fewer people have access to your thoughts. Fewer conversations feel nourishing. Fewer rooms feel aligned. That's not isolation, that's elevation. Moses didn't lead from the crowd. He led from the mountain. And mountains are quiet. There may be moments you question yourself. Was I too harsh? Did I misunderstand? Could I have handled it better? That voice isn't humility, it's conditioning. When you've been trained to accommodate, boundaries feel like betrayal. But hear this clearly. You didn't abandon them. You abandoned the version of yourself that was shrinking to keep them comfortable. That's not sin, that's obedience. History is full of people who lost access to others the moment clarity arrived. Jesus lost followers when his words became inconvenient. Jeremiah was called extreme for speaking truth. Even Billy Graham was criticized for refusing to compromise his message for popularity. Truth always offends those invested in illusion. An illusion fights hardest right before it collapses. You may notice something subtle but powerful now. Your intuition speaks faster. Your tolerance for nonsense is gone. Your energy no longer leaks. You don't feel the need to prove who you are. That's maturity. Napoleon Hill called it definiteness of purpose. Machiavelli feared it because people with inner clarity are uncontrollable. They can't be flattered into submission. They can't be guilted into compliance. They can't be rushed into decisions. They move when it's time and not a moment before. Here's another uncomfortable truth. Some people only liked you when you were accessible, when you answered immediately, when you over-explained, when you carried emotional weight that wasn't yours. Your evolution inconvenienced them, so if distance grows, let it. Alignment doesn't beg, it resonates. There will be a temptation to announce your growth, to justify your silence, to narrate your healing. Resist it. Growth that needs an audience isn't finished yet. Let results speak. Let peace answer questions. Let consistency tell the story. Joseph didn't defend himself in prison. Time did it for him. You are entering a season where discernment replaces desperation. You no longer ask, do they like me? You ask, do they respect my peace? You no longer chase connection. You evaluate alignment. And that shift will protect you from repeating the cycle. Because here's the final lesson. This experience was designed to teach you. Not everyone deserves the same version of you. Some people get access, some get boundaries, some get distance. Wisdom is knowing the difference. If you're feeling quieter lately, good. Stillness is where clarity consolidates. If you're feeling selective, good. Sacred things are guarded. If you're feeling alone, look again. You're not alone. You're between levels, and transitions are always silent. One day, this discernment will save you years. It will save you partnerships, resources, time, and heartache. You'll recognize patterns early. You'll trust yourself faster. You'll walk away without guilt. And when you meet people who are aligned, you'll feel it immediately. No confusion, no heaviness, no second guessing, just peace. So if this season feels strange, if you feel like something ended without closure, if your spirit feels lighter, but your mind is still catching up, that's normal. You didn't lose anything of value. You gained vision, and vision always costs comfort, but rewards you with freedom. Remember this, God doesn't always remove the storm. Sometimes He removes the fog, so you can see clearly while standing in it. And now, you see. So walk forward steady. Speak less. Observe more. Protect your peace like it's sacred, because it is. This chapter didn't end loudly. It ended cleanly, and that's how you know it was God.